Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, is it 11 Eastern?
It is 11 Eastern.
My audio doesn't sound quite right. You hearing me okay?
I hear you just fine.
Okay.
All right.
So welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. And we are here to talk again about collections. We'll be talking about collections throughout the month of May. And so today we're actually into the car, so we'll get to that. But a couple little follow-ups. We got Jeff Martin coming on Friday. We won't talk collections. We'll talk NIADA on Friday. Looking forward to having him back on the show. He was on the show in 2022 as the executive director for TIADA, Texas. And now back as the CEO of NIADA.
That was just before the Texas convention, wasn't it? When we had him on last time?
That sounds right.
I think so.
Yeah. But anyway, looking forward to catching up with Jeff and finding out what else is happening in his world. Got to be a ton happening with Jeff Martin.
Oh my gosh. Right? Yeah.
So it's just stepped into the role in March. So.
And they've got a convention next month.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's right.
A month away.
It's June. Yeah,
it is. It absolutely is. And that right there, it's, I think that, didn't we say it was the 11th? The 11th of May last year was our first broadcast.
Somewhere along in there.
So we'll double check the actual dates, but we're coming up to a year and we have not missed a Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
That's right.
We're
we're 150
it was
plus
funny because a lot
episodes
of people are like, really? Will you have things to talk about after 4? It's like, there's plenty of stuff out there and different people that we can have on and all that. So there's plenty to talk about.
Yeah. And there are those mornings that we decide our topic at 2 hours before going live.
But we're trying not to do that.
That's a little strenuous, but
it is all good.
Yep.
So just say good morning from wherever you guys are, and let's hear from you. So collections and the whole month is going to be on the subject of collections, and we have a few different people that are going to be joining us to talk about collections. We won't really be talking about collections on Friday when Jeff's here. But
no. Yeah. And we will. I think we'll get into the details. I think for today's subject, we're stepping into, in our first episode on collections, we really talked about all the things that can be done in advance to impact collections. So that's so important because it's important to recognize that there are steps we can take today in the sales and closing process and lots of other areas that will have an impact on collections. So we could make changes now in our sales department that could impact the accounts we add today and next week. And so that's one step to take to get into to have customers come into the process in a way that sets up better collections. Right. So we touched on that last time, and now we're going to step into now the customer's in the car and we're starting we're sort of reaffirming our relationship with them. So you got some.
We've got some Corpus Christi. Janet Statterman is hello, friends. Hi, Janet. It's good to see you. And George from Scottsdale, and George from Tampa.
Excellent. Glad to have you here. Corpus
glad to have you guys all here.
Is probably our guy who tunes in regularly, JR. So glad to have you guys here.
That is you.
Yep.
All right. So collections.
Yep. Got some videos teed up. What we really want to talk about, and you'll see when the videos roll. This is not a paid actor. Okay, this is not. This is not a professional.
Well, and
actor.
Just so that we've got like it, and it doesn't have to be studio quality or anything like that. Usually, when we're with our clients, we'll do like sample videos for different things, and sometimes they run them on their website and sometimes they do their own because it's not, we just kind of we just kind of wing it a little bit. But it's good information, and that's kind of what's important is just getting the good information out there. So
good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
So when we roll the videos, be sure and put the little disclaimer streamer on there.
Oh, I certainly will. I'm gonna. Which one do you want to run? Oh, they're over here.
That's good. We got 2 listeners from Corpus Christi. I've been there. And so it's not that big a place. So I'm surprised to have 2 folks from Corpus area. So glad to have y'all listening in.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to start this.
Yeah. Maybe before you roll it, I could explain a little bit about what we're about to watch. So, so the idea behind these videos is that we want to, and our quality's really dropped off on our image.
Yeah.
So it must
Interesting.
at least on our side, the video looks awful. So it must be a streaming thing. Anyway, just wanted to kind of give the idea that now we're stepping into the relationship with the customer. Customer's now in the car, but the day they bought the car, they were like drinking out of a fire hose, right? We hit them with a lot of stuff. And I think the thing that we sometimes, and I was guilty of this as a dealer myself, when you finance a new customer, we should always try to be mindful of the fact that they're going to react to us probably based on past relationships with dealer creditors. If they've been in a buy here, pay here space, then they're coming to us based on with the perspective of all the experience that they've had dealing with other dealers. And those dealers' practices may be very different from ours.
Yeah.
Okay. So that just means it's up to us then to communicate both at the time of closing what our expectations are. Like, we have to communicate expectations. That is clearly on us to express our expectations and how problems get solved and so on. So I hope that's happening at closing anyway. And to the extent that it hasn't, then I would start to roll these videos so hopefully we have a CRM, or you could certainly do it through email, text messages probably, but we hope your system would allow you to easily deliver a short video to your customer. And what we have suggested, we touched on this in the past on prior episodes, this idea of following through with the customer to show them and to communicate further the things that were talked about, or to reinforce and remind about the things that were talked about at the time of delivery. So we suggested that they would basically get a video every day for the first 4 days. Short little video, short little message.
Things. Yeah.
And it's again, follow through. And I think one of the things we talked about before was, it's one thing to say it at the time before the customer buys the car, because it sounds like a sales pitch, whether you're talking about your warranty program or whatever. I think in order to make sure that we've got consistency in the way and what the customer hears, like what goes in their ear, regardless of what the salesperson, if you got a green salesperson out there might have told them something, we want to get consistent in that message. But
there's also another part of that too, but besides the consistency, which is really important because it's hard to follow through on a promise that you weren't aware of, is that we've talked before, whenever when you think about your experiences, when you are sitting down somewhere, you've just purchased something big, a car, a house, a boat, whatever, there's a lot of paperwork that's gone through. And there's a lot of things that are thrown at you really fast. And I don't know about you, but the last time I went in and signed paperwork on a car, I could not tell you all of the stuff that was thrown at me. And so I had to go back through and look through the paperwork it's like, okay, I didn't remember them talking. And our customers a lot of times aren't going to do that. So this is just a way for us to be able to reinforce, and there's a lot of nodding and a lot of yes and a lot of all of that and being excited during closing. And so this is just re-hitting some of the high points about what it is that an engagement with
fine.
us
you can roll that
doing.
ticker and then
Okay, so I'm going to do the ticker. And this is a sample video only.
Not a paid actor. This is an example video.
Yeah.
Yours may be different.
They're good. Yeah. So this one right here.
The first one.
Okay. Video one. So here we go.
Hey friends, thanks for doing business with us at Jim's Auto Finance. This is the first of just a few short videos you'll receive over the next few days, just kind of recapping the things that were talked about the day you bought the car. We know that day was a busy day. A lot was talked about and a lot was kind of thrown at you. So in the interest of just kind of following through and making sure that you're clear on kind of what the expectations are going to be and how we work with folks, we're just going to send out these short videos. So the first one, we're going to talk about payments and remind you that our approach at Jim's Auto Finance is really one that we expect payments to be made in full and on time. And when there is a problem, because we think that, it's likely that you'll run into some setbacks here and there. And when that happens, we just want you to reach out to us. We'd like to reach an understanding. We just don't want a payment to ever become past due and we haven't heard from you. Anytime we haven't heard and there's no communication, that's a problem. So we just want to make sure that we hear from you. So again, this is just the first of a few short videos, and we want to make sure you understand that we always work with folks. We do expect payments in full and on time, and you're going to just let us know anytime that you run into a problem, and we're happy to work with you. So thanks again for coming to do business at Jim's Auto Finance. Okay. Now, if Jim's Auto Finance, if Jim's Auto Finance were a real place and that was my own dealership, then I would be bringing that tone that you heard, which is a tone of
friendly.
Well, and also there's this open door policy that we don't talk about enough, but I think it comes into play. We hear a lot of dealers out there through Facebook, social media, whatever. You meet these dealers who have what I would call a closed door approach. If you have a problem with the payment, it's your problem. If you have a problem with the car, that's your problem. There's no promise of anything. It's like repairs are your responsibility. The end. Payments are your responsibility. The end. And so I think that's what I would call a closed door approach. So what you're hearing in the tone of the videos that you'll hear from me is sort of this open door thing where I'm communicating to dealer or to customers in a way that I want them to hear from me as the dealer. This is how we do business. This is what I want to make sure you understood the day you bought the car. And so that's why you're kind of hearing that. Now, if that were also my video, I would probably re-edit that and go make sure I tell the customer exactly where to go. Hopefully that's my website. Go to the VIP section.
And that might be another video. Hey, when you're ready to make your payment, here's how you can do it.
Yep. And tell them all the ways they can make a payment.
Yeah.
So part of what's happening here, if I'm being totally honest with my dealer listeners, is I'm taking away excuses one by one. Now, not because I want to slap them on the wrist, but because I need to know that the customers have been informed of all the stuff. And now that takes away some of their ability to plead ignorance, right? Oh, I didn't know that. I just signed the stuff. I didn't hear that about the video or what. I didn't hear that about insurance or whatever. So I'm trying to take away the excuses, which helps us to now enforce, more specifically and more consistently, and know that we've done everything on our side to try to communicate. So I'd love to hear from some of our dealers that are listening in, because I know they've experienced this, and I know that there's a price that we pay when we don't thoroughly or effectively communicate to the dealer or to the customer. So that's part of what's happening. Let's go ahead and we can roll video number 2 when you're ready.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
Hello again. Just another follow-through video from all of us at Jim's Auto Finance. Thanks again for coming to do business with us. We trust that you're totally enjoying your car. We just want to take a moment with this video to recap some of the things about repairs that may come up with your vehicle. And of course, maintenance. Maintenance will be your responsibility. We do provide the short warranty coverage. And so you should.
Oops.
I lost it. Hello again. Just another follow-through video from all of us at Jim's Auto Finance. Thanks again for coming to do business with us. We trust that you're totally enjoying your car. We just want to take a moment with this video to recap some of the things about repairs that may come up with your vehicle. And of course, maintenance. Maintenance will be your responsibility. We do provide the short warranty coverage. And so you should have the material that explains what's covered under that short-term warranty. And then you may have chosen the optional service contract. So if you do, we can talk about how that one works. But again, you should have documentation if you chose the service contract. But regardless, there could be things that will come up that aren't covered by the warranty or that aren't covered by the service contract. And of course, those things will be your financial responsibility. But I want to be clear, and one of the reasons we want to reach out is to make sure you understand that just because those things are your financial responsibility doesn't mean that we wouldn't help. So if there's ever a problem that comes up, especially if you're facing a car payment and you're facing out-of-pocket repairs on the car, just reach out to us. Let us know what's going on and let us see what we can do to help. So we just want to make that clear that just because something is not covered doesn't mean that we can't help. So, obviously with your car, the best thing to do to avoid repairs is take good care of the car. Make sure that you stay on top of your maintenance, and belts and hoses and fluids and all that stuff will be your responsibility. So just make sure and take care of those. Odds are your car will be trouble-free. But if something should ever come up, just know that we're here to help.
All right.
Did I say help like 4
You
times
did,
in the
you did.
video? I
And
do
so,
repeat
like we
myself.
said, sample videos
Yeah.
only. We're not going to put them up for people to be able to put on their
No,
own
this is
stuff, but
totally just
it's
unscripted. But the
yeah.
idea is, I think
Mhm.
you get the theme that we're trying to
Mhm.
deliver in
So
that message.
repairs.
So yours would be different. You may or may not have service contracts or warranties, so your
Mhm.
language would be different. But
Mhm.
the idea is to communicate to the customer, here's what's going to happen if
Mhm.
you've run into a repair. And that way, they also have this in a text message. They can rewatch the video, so you could make it
Yeah.
longer. I would
And
recommend.
I would actually, well, from my perspective, I would do it shorter
Mhm,
and have one on maintenance, one on
that's
repair,
fine.
one and just and one on what their warranty is, or that kind of thing. But it's and I liked how you just said, send it via text, send it via email as well, and then
And
they can just watch it whenever.
And they can, if they get
Yeah.
off work at 2 a.m. and they've got a problem and they want to refer to the old videos, I would also recommend
Yeah.
these videos could live at the VIP section of your website where
Yep.
your customers can go in and see the stuff and reconsume the stuff so you can watch it and have some knowledge of, what happens. My car's broken down. How do I handle the tow? What's supposed to happen. So
Mhm.
just having that communicated and available to customers, but also by having it on a video, especially if I'm recording it as the dealer, all of my new people can see it. They know exactly what the customer is going to hear from
Yeah.
me after delivery. So I better not say anything inconsistent with
Mhm.
that. So it goes a step further in that regard. So I think you can see why we thought this was important from a
Yeah.
collection standpoint. When we take these steps, then and dealers affirm and reconfirm all the time something that I knew from my own time, and being a dealer is that
Mhm.
repairs do drive a lot of problems in collections.
Yeah.
Even with a
Yeah.
warranty, even with all those things in place, you're still going to have a lot of things related to mechanical things on that side.
Mhm.
So that's why. But again, I'll just remind you what you're hearing in me is a really open, inclusive, like I said help like 4 times. Like we will help you just because
Yep.
it's your financial. What I didn't say is that I would write a check and pay for it. So, and
Mhm.
also you'll hear in this next video that I never threaten. It's always kind of open-minded or open, that whole thing about an open door approach.
Mhm.
I never threaten in repossession. We just say phrasing like, go ahead and roll that insurance
Okay, let's
videos
do
up
that
there.
one right there.
Hey friends, it's Jim again from Jim's Auto Finance. Want to first remind you that we have our referral reward program. If you're enjoying the car and you enjoyed your experience at Jim's, we want to make sure you mention to friends and family to come see us. And then when they mention your name when they arrive, we can get you included in the referral rewards. So please don't forget about that. Now about insurance. Remember that when you bought the car, it was agreed that you would accept responsibility for maintaining full coverage on the car at all times. So we just want to recap that part and make sure that you know that just because you might get an insurance card that says you have insurance for 6 months, if you're making your payments premium or your premium payments monthly and you fail to make one, the insurance could get canceled. And if that happens, that's a big problem for you and for us. So we want to avoid that. Now, if there ever is a problem financially and you're concerned that it's going to expire, reach out to us. Now, if we get word that it has expired and you haven't provided us new evidence, then we could force place our CPI policy. You remember that would have been offered to you at the time you bought the car. And so if you chose not to do that, then if your own insurance expires, then we might force place insurance on the car, and then you would owe a premium to us instead of to your insurance company. So we don't want it to be that kind of problem. The simplest way is just to maintain your full coverage and keep us informed. Make sure we've got evidence of the valid insurance, and you won't have a problem. We hope you're enjoying your new car. I think next time I record those, I'll do it before breakfast. I actually notice myself pausing and having to catch my breath. But again, not a professional actor there. But,
well, and there's like even in that one, there's a lot of really different. There's a lot of little nuggets of information, and so whether or not you want to do it, long form, short form, just getting that information in front of your customer is really going to be super important for them to remember all the stuff.
And not to mention how can this help your collectors? If you've got those little short videos available in your archives and you got a voice message from a customer overnight that, hey, my car's overheating. You call the customer, they don't answer. you could shoot them the little short video by text message, and now they've got the thing to read and they can remember. So you can, all the stuff you can start recording and creating little short videos. I also think it personalizes it more. You can make sure that the video reflects the right tone when you reach out to the customer about that situation. It's a tone of cooperation, not frustration, not robotic. It's,
and friendly. I mean, and Jim's not like a huge smiler, and not everybody is. I am, and just
so you'll do the videos
so whoever it is that on your team that can like be approachable and friendly and all of the stuff, and I don't know. I hope that you can see just this the talking about the different videos. This is like shortly after the closing of the loan. And you have an opportunity once you kind of get into the habit of doing these kind of things, is that if there are specific messages that are given during the course of the loan, like they're a little bit late, and you're going to send this thing, hey, we noticed you're late, don't forget. And you could do a series of different things, different little videos that you can just throw in. I call it either your toolbox that you give to your collectors. So the collectors have a lot of different tools that they can use that are going to help them perform their job better. And I don't know about you, but when I get a text message, a lot of times, if someone calls it and I don't know who it is or whatever, I just let it go to voicemail, and then I get busy and I don't always listen to my voicemail like as soon as, but there's something about, this is just for me, that when I get a text message or an email, that I will look through the text messages and the emails and just take a quick look, because and when I'm kind of thinking about in terms of our customers, sometimes they're going to listen to a text message video that was going to give them information that they don't want to answer the phone because they know they're late. Yeah. And so, it's like, I don't want to talk to him. I can't do it right now. And I don't want to talk to him. But then they get the video that says, hey, we noticed you're late. If, we need to make sure that we keep the payments on time. If there's something happening that with the car or whatever, just come in and talk to us and let's figure this out.
Yeah, I think the key is you just can deliver the message and the tone.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want. Like one of the things that I know in my own dealership that became a thing regularly, it's one thing to have a warranty. If you don't specify how the towing works, like what am I to do? I understand that I have a warranty, but the car's in my driveway and it's overheating. And how do I get it to somebody? Like I remember having to tell customers 3 and 4 times, like just to have to state it and restate it, what's required. So I think the video would go a long way in this regard. Also helps to separate departments. Like our collectors get bogged down a lot in dealing with mechanical stuff that is really not their expertise, right? And we need them to be free to go manage their accounts and work on the next car payment. And so that just means we need to have a process, and our video could help. When we send that to the customer, it'll tell them, here's exactly what you do. Here's who you call. This is exactly step by step how you go about doing the thing. And video, we just know in this day and age, video, multiple short videos are good. If you need a few expanded videos to walk through certain steps, you can certainly do that. But we just know that that's the way people are consuming information. And the other nice thing is you talked about customer, if it's a payment matter, you got to be really careful if you're going to communicate through video, but at least you can make sure whatever you send out is compliant. So in that way, in my mind, it's no different than sending a voice or leaving a voice message. You're just communicating something, and make sure that whatever goes out is going to be compliant in terms of communication. But now if I send a video, the customer doesn't want to take a phone call when they see that Jim's Auto Finance is calling in and they know they're past due on their car payment. They don't want to take that phone call because they got a passenger in the car who, from a privacy standpoint, they don't want to have a conversation, right? Or they got loud kids in the car and they can't have a conversation. But if I send a video file,
via text
they can watch at their convenience. When it's private, then it'll communicate to them. Like I say, the tone, that's the thing I think is most important, is like we're able to express the information that we need to convey, but also the tone of the conversation needs to be one. So I think what you're hearing from me and what you'll hear throughout the month of May is we really bring a white hat approach to collections. Is we want to be inviting. We want to be, I think collectors in my mind are first and foremost problem solvers. But to
Mhm.
solve the problem, they have to get to and identify and understand the problem and then go about the business of finding solutions. And so that means some level of creativity. But that's why we bring that approach of, look, we can help. You just got to let me know what's going on. And I've got all kinds of ways to help. I'm not going to say that specifically. I'm not going to, I just have you use toolbox. I got a toolbox full of ways
Mhm.
to help over here. But for me to help, I got to be able to talk to you. So I want my tone to be
Mhm.
such that, and that's why you heard me say, help. I'm here to help. I'm here to help.
Mhm.
So that's the tone I'm going to bring. When we can get customers to communicate with us and not be afraid of us, we can solve problems.
And yeah, I absolutely agree. And you're going to hear throughout the month probably a lot of different things that we can add to a collector's toolbox. And it's like all of the things that will help them be able to do their job and keep things communicating, keep things moving forward. And so yeah.
So, and the collectors really don't have to do any of the things that we just showed. If you had little short videos like what we
Yeah.
just showed, in a lot
But
of
they just have to
systems,
send it.
well, in a lot of
Yeah.
systems that could be totally automated and queued up so that it goes to the customer automatically on day one and the next video
Oh
on day
yeah.
two. So that stuff can be automated and it's just part of your, I call it follow through. Some people talk about follow up, they talk about welcome calls. We can talk about welcome calls later, but this is sort of goes, and you could do video to kind of replace the welcome call. Yes, it would be nice to talk to the customer and hear from them. So I'm not saying it necessarily replaces, but it could be in addition to this welcoming process where it says, you're now our customer. Here's how it's going to work, bite-sized pieces. And then
And
let them know how
just kind of think too that if you have some of our dealers have like a collector or a couple of collectors. If your collector is by chance the face, I'm just there's some strength in that because it's kind of when if you weren't able to do a warm handoff to the collection department, to the at closing, so they didn't like get to see a face and get to hey, this I'm so and so and you're going to be working with me and all of that, which is something that we really encourage, that there be some kind of warm handoff. But if you have the face of your collector and and they're the ones that are like, hey, this is da 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 da, and so it's the face. The minute that someone walks into that customer walks into your dealership and has to actually talk to somebody, if it's like it's a familiar face. It's someone that they kind of already know, even though they may not have ever had a one-on-one conversation. It's a familiar face, and it's like people automatically. It's like, oh, I know you.
Yeah.
I know you,
Yeah,
and
that's good.
it makes them feel more
That's
comfortable.
helpful. I just think the tone is so important because if they just did business with us, they just bought the car a few weeks ago and now they've got a little something going on. They, facing whatever's kind of setback. Why would they be afraid of us in the collection department? Why would they assume that our collectors are mean and nasty? Because the last people they've dealt with were mean and nasty in the collection department. So that's a natural conclusion based on what we see a lot across buy here, pay here. And so I think we have to be mindful of that. And so when we step in with a customer, part of how we can have a more successful 3 and 4 year relationship with a customer is to do all this part on the front end.
Yeah.
And that's why we felt like it was important to start here. Just communicate,
Absolutely.
make sure we start the relationship from a good foundation. We communicate all the stuff. Of course, in doing that, we're taking away excuse one by one. And we're keeping an open door policy that says, you can talk to us. We're the problem solvers over here.
Yeah.
Come and talk to us. And so our tone in the collection department would reflect that. And so starting Monday, we'll go deeper into the steps and how to, especially we'll go into how to set the tone early when a customer is late for their very first payment, not the first payment,
The first time that they're late.
They're late. So that might be 10 payments in, whatever that looks like. The
Hopefully
tone
it's not the first payment.
Right. So we'll talk about though how to address those things and how to create the tone throughout the remainder of the relationship because it's just the nature of how it works.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, it's the tone, it's being friendly, but being firm. And we're setting an expectation and, it's important to set a tone and, to be firm and to follow through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll give our listeners a hint to tune in the month of May on collections. When that friendly but firm thing, when I offer help and say, come talk to me, you're going to see as we go through collections that I'm going to certainly take steps to make sure and keep the customer's responsibility on their side of the table. I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy to do my part. I'm happy to step in. What I'm not prepared is do all the stuff and the customer doesn't do their part. So this is really, when I say welcome and friendly and friendly, we're inviting people. We're having that open door policy, but we're still, and that whole open door approach,
Mm-hmm.
but we're still going to, at the end, we're going to ask the customer to accept their part of the responsibility, and we'll be firm in that, but we'll be friendly about it, and we'll present it in a way that will make sense to them. But that's just part of how that happens.
Absolutely.
So anyway, that's what May is going to be looking like.
I'm
feel
looking
like we've
forward
set a
to
pretty
May,
good
because
foundation.
a lot of this stuff, this is like more in my wheelhouse than
Yeah.
collateral recovery rates.
Yeah.
It's like I can just ask questions. But
we're making some progress on collateral recovery.
We are. Absolutely. Okay. So Friday, or coming up on Friday, Jeff Martin is going to be joining us. Thanks so much for joining us today on our number 2 of our collection series for the month of May. So
thanks for tuning in. See you Friday.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much.